2, 1.
Welcome to Film 360. Tonight I've got an awesome guest. This is Warren Workman. He founded and runs the Utah Film Awards, the Utah Film Festival, and a whole bunch of other awesome things in the film world. So stay tuned because tonight we're going to talk about some festival do's and festival don'ts. Okay, so I think the first most important thing is, why don't you give a little intro? Let us know a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Okay, so in a nutshell, we started doing the Utah Film Awards back when it was just called the Filmed in Utah Awards about 8 years ago. We started in the back of a Indian restaurant, and then we moved to Salt Lake for 3 years, came down to Utah County. I've been down in Utah County ever since. Mostly our home's been at the Covey Center. And the Covey Center has been pretty good to us. And this last year was our biggest year yet. We had over 3,100 submissions. Our film festival itself, it had so many good films, we had to extend it by an extra day. We had people come in from as far as Nicaragua and as close as 2 blocks away from the Covey Center. So we had a lot of people showing up. We had Taylor Sheridan there, who did Hell or High Water. He's an Oscar nominee. He's doing Yellowstone right now, which is bringing several millions of dollars into the state of Utah. Yeah. And he won our Impact Award, or here's our Impact Award recipient. And that was probably our highest profile person we've had with the show in the past. Wow. But it just keeps growing every year. It's grown so much that we don't just have one festival anymore. So we now have 10 different festivals. And we have one that looks like it'll be launching outside of the country. It'll be our first one outside of the country. And that one looks like it'll be happening in December, right after the rainy season in Cambodia. So we have some contacts out there with the Cambodian Oscar Selection Committee, and they've asked us to come out and do a festival. And so we're just waiting to see if the partnership with the Royal University out there works out. And if so, we'll be in Cambodia this December.
Wow. So, I mean, the thing is, I think a lot of filmmakers, they submit to all these festivals, but they don't ever get feedback, right, from anybody about what they maybe did wrong or ways they could make things better or any of that. And so that's kind of why I wanted to have this discussion and look at ways that we can improve festival behavior both before the festival, during the festival, and after the festival, which you covered all three in the notes you sent me. So
I got lots of notes. I mean, it starts well early in the process. Before you even start making your movie, you can kind of know what kind of festivals you're going to go to, or even if going to a festival even makes sense. I mean, there's some movies it doesn't make sense to go to a film festival, and this is coming from a guy who makes film festivals. And I'm telling you, there's some festivals it doesn't make sense to do it for. Here's a good example. I have a friend named John Lyde, and John makes great, epic movies. But John has those movies already lined up for distribution before he makes the movies. Oh. It doesn't make sense to go to a film festival with a movie like that, because the entire purpose of that movie was to make money. He made money at the beginning. So stop wasting it on a film festival and just go off and make your next movie. So he's doing it the right way.
Wow.
He's doing it the right way.
Yeah. I mean, in this climate, that's a great way to go. And I thought it was interesting, as I actually read the list of the talking points that Warren sent over to me, most of them to me were kind of duh, right? And yet there are people not doing these things. There are people doing the wrong things, the right things, the wrong way. Festivals are a surprisingly complicated world of their own within the world of film. So why don't we go ahead and just start off with number one of the do's.
Number one of the do's. I don't remember what it was, but I guess it's right there because it's so helpful. Okay, we'll start with this do. This is a good do. Do be kind to the festival staff and volunteers. Now, you would think this is a no-brainer, right? Just be kind. Just don't be a dink. I mean, don't be a jerkwad. Don't be a poopy-faced snarfblat. Don't be that. Be cool, man. Like, everybody's working really hard to show off your film, and your film probably was made for a pretty inexpensive amount of money, and it probably doesn't have any marketable cast, and it's probably one of the first times it was shown in a theater that is like a legit theater. And so when you come in and you're being cool with everybody, you're going to get some extra perks that other people won't be getting. That's not being cool. If you're being kind to the festival and to the staff, this is what happens. We have people that come back year after year, not because their work is just the absolute best every single time, but we want them at our festival every single time because they're just so doggone cool. Now, so I'm not going to drop any names because I'll be like, wait a minute, you didn't like my work so much? It's like, dude, we like you. We like you even more than we liked your work. And your work is pretty good, but we like you even better. And so if you're cool with a film festival, they're going to do stuff like send you discount codes. They're going to send you free waivers. They're going to hook you up with some sweet lodging things. They're going to get you all sorts of perks. They're going to give you like free swag and stuff. It's like you'll get all sorts of that stuff. And that's not just with our festival. That's with every festival out there. If you're cool with the festival staff, like the volunteers, especially the volunteers, the programmers, and just the operational staff in general, and with your emails, you're being clean and clear and consistent, it's like you're going to be making some good friends. And you want to make good friends with these people if you want to continue to do the film festival circuit. So don't be a jerkwad.
The thing is, this is a good rule for life in general, but especially as an artist of any kind. Word gets around, and honestly, being nice to people has been the thing that has gotten me as far as I've gotten.
Yeah,
I can guarantee it, because people want to work with you, they like you, and anyway. So this is not just a festival thing, but I think it's one that's easy to forget. Festivals can be stressful. You're running around trying to take care of things, and it can feel like the staff is holding you back or whatever. But I'm sure they're doing the best they can, and being a jerk to them is not going to help.
This is the truth. This is a fact.
So let's move on to our next do.
All right, what's the next do? Ooh, I like this do. Use lots and lots of social media. There's no such thing as bad social media if you're doing it kindly. But use lots of social media. Now, this means plenty of selfies, but mostly this is happening before the festival even happens. I'm like talking a month before it happens. Usually about a month to 2 months ahead of time, every filmmaker is notified on whether or not they've been accepted to a festival. And the festival needs this amount of time to get all the assets together, make sure they have the film, make sure they have all the print material to go into their magazines and all that good stuff. So during that time, what you can be doing as a filmmaker is like saying, hey, I've got this movie that's going to be at the Utah Film Festival, and here's the dates. I don't know the exact schedule, but I will keep you informed. I'm so excited. Here's some pictures from last year's festival. Look at what they do. How much fun is this going to be? You guys need to come out. And a lot of times we're choosing films that are Utah premieres. And so if it's a Utah premiere and you've got some friends here, oh yeah, see all those people who show up? Isn't that great? If you have friends that live in Utah and they want to see your movie and they haven't been able to see it in a big movie theater that has a great sound system and a great projector and all that good stuff, then you want to get those butts in those seats and help the film festival do it. So what happens is we actually track all the social media starting the day that we send it out. Wow. We ask all the filmmakers to put in the tag or just say the words Utah Film Festival. Because on Facebook and on Twitter and on Instagram, you can actually search who's writing the words Utah Film Festival. And so when we do a search and see who's doing that, we can actually get an idea of who's going to be having the larger attendance for their screening. So we had a group called Toxic Puzzle. It's a documentary, a medical documentary. By all programming means, this is the kiss of death as far as programming. Nobody wants to come see a medical documentary. That filmmaker was so instrumental on pushing social media and inviting all their friends and getting people out there. It completely sold out.
Wow.
It sold out so bad we had to bring in chairs from another theater.
Wow.
And it was standing room only. It was huge. It was wall to wall people, and it was about literally ALS and sludge. And if I would have looked at that just for what it was on that, as far as reading it with a card, I would have said, there's no way anybody's going to come to this. It was one of our most popular films. Wow. Another one called Lore, which is a horror movie shot from a guy from BYU and from the U of U, and they had never screened it in Utah before. They did a very good job promoting that through all their networks. That was our second largest screening. Wow. But when we had people who had their world premieres, they were not pushing it as much. We had an okay turnout for world premieres, but that world premiere screening should have been sold out.
Yeah.
Because we had 6 world premieres that should have been sold out. But because people aren't getting on social media and talking about it, it doesn't fill in the seats. Now, people think, well, isn't that the film festival's job, is to get a whole bunch of
That's what
people
I used to think, yeah.
and get their butts in the seats? No, it's the film festival's job to select your film, to secure the venue and make sure that it has the best screening possible, and to treat you like gold when you're at the festival. That's the purpose of the film festival, is to be the facilitator. We can't also be your marketing team. We don't have that kind of pool.
Right.
We don't have that kind of budget, and especially when people see how cheap it is to submit to our festival, they understand why we don't have that kind of resources. So we look for people who have a good social media following, that are actively on their social media and talking about, tagging things, and have done it with other film festivals, not necessarily ours.
Yeah.
But we'll look at it in our process of who do we select. Are they active on social media? Do they have a really good fan base? A great example is the film Fear Level. Fear Level is a locally produced feature film on a very modest budget. They were under $50,000.
Okay.
But we knew going in that Fear Level's social media score was one of the top 5 out of everybody in the festival.
Wow.
So we knew that if we had them involved in some capacity, that they were going to blow up on social media, and they did. And they were fantastic. And a couple other films, we had those high scores. And that helps us gauge a couple things. It helps us gauge not so much on the programming level as, is this a good enough movie to put in? Because that's a totally different thing that we're talking about. It helps us gauge where do we put them in the programming. So do they get prime time, or do they go early in the morning on a Thursday? That tells us where they're going to be placed depending on how many people we expect to be in the theater for their screening. Social media is huge. Social media is huge.
Yeah, and I think something that I didn't realize when I did my first festivals is people are looking over a program and they have to choose what they're going to go to. Mm-hmm. And they only have so much time and so many options. So they're going to potentially, I think in many cases, they're going to look up the different films on social media and see, what looks good.
Absolutely.
And that was actually the biggest mistake I would say I made with my first festival showing, was I did not push it to anybody except for a handful of people that I knew would come if they knew. Mm-hmm. And we had a pretty small house. So let's move on to our next do.
Okay, next do. Review the festival on Film Freeway. So now, Film Freeway is the only platform that I'm aware of that has an option for you to actually review the film festival on that platform. That's wicked awesome. Because now what you're able to do as a filmmaker is you control all the power. You're able to say, dude, this festival was awesome! It was the greatest festival we've ever had. Now, for example, I want to say we have over 50 5-star reviews right now for the Utah Film Festival. We're ranked as one of the top 100 best ranked film festivals in the world. In the world! I didn't realize. So we're doing pretty good. FilmQuest also has that honor.
Yeah.
So Jonathan Martin's FilmQuest is doing really well there too. But it only works because the filmmaker who was selected comes back and says, this is the experience that I had. Now, let's say you had a negative experience and you're like saying, look, I want to just trash this film festival. Before you do that, I would recommend reaching out to the festival organizers themselves and see if they can make it right. If they can make it right and fix whatever issue you had, any complaint that you had ahead of time, that will probably change what kind of review you're going to write. Because you might go in there and say, I had a rotten experience at the film festival, but I followed up with the festival and they took care of it. They made things better. I loved the communication. 5 stars. And so make sure you have that communication with the festival. Now, if the festival is not communicative at all, if they're not emailing you back and forth, they're not answering their phone, rake them across the coals.
We're going to talk more about that in a second.
Absolutely. If they're not talking to you, if it feels like the festival's scamming you in any way like that, put them on blast. Put them on blast. I'm a member of the Film Festival Alliance, and one of our jobs is to make sure that we have a certain standard of standard of excellence that we do. And we all have to adhere to that standard of excellence. One of the things is every film has to be screened. None of this baloney of you get a film submitted and you just skip it. Nah. It's like for the Utah Film Festival, we have its film screened at least 3 times, minimum.
Wow. Okay.
That's where our full-time
That's
staff
great.
comes into play,
Yeah.
right? So they have to watch the films. And we actually know that they watch the films because they're also required at our festival, not at other festivals, but at our festival, they have to write a review.
Nice.
Whether we make that review public or not, that's totally
Oh,
different.
yeah. I've seen those a lot, actually.
But we will post reviews on films that we enjoyed and that we saw did really well. And usually those are films that have gotten above a 7 in our scoring system.
Okay.
Films that typically don't get it above that score, usually we don't see that on our website. So usually, even if the film was not selected as part of our screenings or as an official selection, the reason you'll see them on the website is because they scored so high.
Okay.
And that's why we do that. So do your reviews. Let people know if the festival's been good to you. Let the people know if the festival's a scam, because filmmakers should be protecting other filmmakers from people ripping them off. And if people are not even watching your films, or if the festival doesn't even happen, oh, that's the worst thing. If a festival's not happening and they are taking people's money, let everybody know, including Film Freeway, and we'll shut them down.
There's a whole, I just learned about this not that long ago. There's this whole market of festivals that it's not even that they're fake. They have nothing to offer you, really. They don't have any prestige. They don't have any meaningful entries. They don't have anything.
They don't do anything.
And it's just a place where you can send your money and they'll put your movie on a screen, probably.
Well, I got even one worse for you than that. So you have another, there's actually several hundred of these that do this, but you will send your film in, they accept everybody who went through, and they say everyone's a winner. And I am victim of falling for that, because before I did everything with this festival, I made some films, and I wanted to get acknowledged.
Is that called the Snowflake Festival?
Snowflake Festival could be called the Snowflake Festival, but Indie Series and not Indie Series Awards, they're a legit place. Indie Fest is a good example. So Indie Fest, well, there's like 100 Indie Fests actually right now,
Oh,
but there's
yeah.
a specific Indie Fest. It's called the Indie Fest Awards, and all they do is they're an awards mill. Everybody who submits wins an award. It may not be their top honor, but everybody wins an award.
That's
Yeah, so it gives you the acknowledgement of, hey, I won something, which is
Yeah.
great, especially if no one's acknowledging you at all.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's really detrimental to the filmmakers, knowing what they're putting out there is not the quality that's being seen in the marketplace right now. And it does a disservice to that filmmaker.
Yeah.
Because if I go up to you and say, hey, the last film you made was the best film I've ever seen, way better than any Avengers, then I'm lying to you, right?
Yeah.
But some people, I don't know, do people really need someone to come up to them and tell them that type of fabrication? I don't know.
Right.
But what we'll do is on our reviews, we'll break down what did you do right.
Yeah.
I don't need to tell you what you did wrong. You know what you did wrong.
You know.
You know, because you're the filmmaker and you're your worst critic. But what our film reviewers do is like say, look, the acting was on point. Specifically these scenes, this is where it really meant a lot. Or the cinematography was sharp and vivid, and they'll really focus on what was really working well. If they don't mention it in the film review, there's probably a reason. And when we say, look, again, don't bash the filmmaker. That is not constructive. Don't bash the filmmaker. Instead, focus on what they're doing right, and just leave it at what they're doing right. And if they want to get more precise, they can send us a message, and we can hopefully guide them a little bit. I don't want to get slammed with that being my next full-time job, is explaining what you're doing right as a filmmaker. But that's what we got.
Also, when it comes to these scam festivals or these festivals that aren't very good, Film Freeway is absolutely your friend, because it will tell you where it's rated. It will give you, a lot of information that lets you know if this is going to be a festival we're submitting to, which is not always based on seniority. Some fairly new festivals can be absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely.
But just be careful and be smart when using Film Freeway. Let's go to our next do. We got to rush a little bit.
We got to speed this up a little bit.
Yeah.
We're going to get behind. Okay, do make your festival submission easy for a festival to accept. I'm going to break down what that is. Is that all right?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I had that question.
So to make it easy, here's what you do. Now, this is going to blow your mind that a lot of people aren't doing this already. First, put the video at the top, okay, on Film Freeway. Don't put it on some private embedded link that you have to go through 5 different back sources to get to. Put it on a Vimeo link. or a YouTube unlisted link, pop it up there, or even natively on Film Freeway. Just upload
Oh, okay.
simply
I didn't know you could do
on
that.
there,
Awesome.
and it makes it so that the screener can watch it instantly. Okay, that's the first part. Next, make sure your email is correct. Make sure your email and your phone number and your name is spelled correctly on the submission form. We had so many people who didn't say, they said, we never heard any communication from you. I was like, we sent out 20 emails. How did you not hear a single word from us? I was like, what email have you been sending it to? It was like, this one. I was like, oh, I don't use that email anymore. I'm not clairvoyant.
How is that our fault, right?
I was like, I
oh,
don't know what
geez.
you use and what you do not use. So
This is like that kid in high school who'd hand in his homework with
Right.
no name on it, except he just paid $100 or $200 or $500
or more, right? So
to
if you're
not
going to
get his
spend,
film
if you're going to
submitted.
spend even $3 on a submission for whatever festival, if you're getting it in free or whatever, I don't care. Put the correct
your-
contact information for Pete's sake. Next, make sure you have production photos and public photos on there. You're going to have film of behind the scenes photos, and you're going to have photos from the actual show.
Yeah.
So that way they can both be used to promote in the program. Excuse me, in the program
That's awesome.
book. You need to have both those. Have a trailer. Unless your film is 1 minute long, have a trailer. Trailers are important because we
Yeah.
use those trailers on our website to get people excited about seeing your film. And then, well, those are the main things. The trailer, correct contact information. Make sure you upload your film so that's easy to get to, and those photos. Oh, and a synopsis.
Oh, yeah.
It boggles my mind. Sup, Chris? It boggles my mind
Oh,
when people
hey.
don't have a synopsis on their freaking film. It's like,
Right?
I don't want to have to watch your whole movie to figure out what it's about and promote it later on and try to remember what it's about. I don't think so. If you're not going to make it easy, I'm going to bump you.
My first big festival submission for me was a really complicated concept. And it took me a long time, but I know that, I mean, making that synopsis not only was good for the festival, but for afterwards,
Yeah.
for elevator pitches, right?
Yeah.
For talking to people, it helps you solidify your ideas. So even if you don't think you need these things, you need these things.
You do. And I'm just going to keep it at that. That's as simple as you can get. We can go into more detail later about making entire festival packages, but we'll talk about that if we have time.
Okay, we have one more due, I believe. That was 4?
We have so much doo-doo on this show. We have so much. We have a lot of do. Speaking of, I'm at some
yes.
Mountain Dew.
This is,
All right, let's hear it.
This is a good
Here we
one.
go. Attend the festival parties, workshops, and screenings. This, again, blows my mind. Why people would spend money to go to for a festival and only show up for the award show, or not show up to the entire festival at all. Like their whole entire purpose is what? I don't know. As a festival programmer, I don't understand what the filmmaker's mentality is when they're submitting, other than maybe they want laurels.
yeah,
I mean, sure.
which is fair.
Which is-
You're right, you
sure.
submit to a festival that's 10 states away. You
Yeah.
might not be able to get there. But if you can at all,
Yeah, but
It's
you
worth
want to
it.
go. And I would also recommend only submitting to festivals that either have a pretty daggone good reputation, so those laurels mean something,
yeah.
or that you plan on showing up to. So, like people who are going to South by Southwest, yes, it does mean something to get into South by Southwest, but it's also a heck of a party down there. They have a really good show down in South by Southwest, so I recommend checking them out. But if you're like submitting to Sundance, it's because of the prestige and you want to go, show up. If you're going to go with the Utah Film Festival, I mean, I got 3,000 submissions, and of those 3,000 submissions, we picked about 120. Out of those guys. Out of the 120, we had maybe 3/4 of them show up, which is pretty darn good.
That's not bad, actually.
Yeah, we had 3/4 of them show up, and a lot of them showed up from out of the country, which is really awesome. So here's the reason why I want you to show up to the parties and workshops and the screenings. The screenings you're going to get into for free because you're a filmmaker, right? So you're going to get into that anyway. But show up to the parties and the workshops because you're going to learn something. And I'm not talking like a panel. I'm not talking like a panel where they're like saying, let's talk about women in film or let's talk about the history of Gene Roddenberry. Okay, I'm talking about a workshop where they say, here is a business skill that filmmakers need to know that they don't currently possess. We're going to now give you that tool for your toolbox so you can go and use that for your next film or your next festival. That's what I mean by a workshop. And then the parties. If a party is not set up for networking, the party's set up wrong. If the party's
Yep.
set up for just drinking and getting smashed, you're at the wrong party. That's called the bar. Go across the street, get drunk, go. If that's what you need for the day, just to calm your nerves, Go get drunk. That's a bar. If you want to go to a party and meet people, that's networking. That's what we have at the Utah Film Awards and Utah Film Festival. We have people saying, dude, we totally go, but you have no beer. It's like, of course, it's across the street.
There's a bar right across the street from the
You can go
Covey
get
Center.
drunk right over there. No big deal. And then when you're all tipsy, come on over and we'll figure out why we don't want to work with you. Okay? Because you want to be able to network at these things. And here's why you network. We legitimately, I am not joking, people have signed deals to work on films or like handshake deals at the festival and have worked on films from that festival. Screenplays, producers meeting directors, actors more or less getting roles just because of their look and because of their personality when they met the director at the festival. It's ridiculous how much networking happens, and that's why we keep the booze out of it.
And it's, I mean, in my opinion, it's a good idea because it makes the networking process, I think, better.
Yeah.
Like, I've been to networking events where it's all about the booze and ones where it's not all, and I find that my success rate of networking is much higher.
I mean, do you really want to work with somebody who you see drinking all the time? Because you're going to be like, oh, so that's how he's going to be on set too.
There's that, but I mean, also people just, I don't know, they pay better attention, and I feel like I get better information from them.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
What if the drinking was research?
I'm not saying they can't drink. I'm just saying events where the booze is the central focus are not as good for networking.
Right.
Typically.
I'm not anti-alcohol in any means. I'm just saying there's a right time and a place for it, and a film networking event is not the right time or place.
Yeah. The after party. That's
after
where you
party,
can go for that.
The private after party where you can act like a complete baboon is totally fine. The after party that we produce, we'll keep it clean too because we have kids there.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
That's
we want to keep it sober. We don't want my 8-year-old getting smashed. He'll never get to work on time the next day.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
Nuts?
So I actually think it's about time that we start wrapping up.
Oh wow, we went that late?
Yeah, we
Holy
started.
moly.
Yeah. So
Oh wow.
there's just a couple things I wanted to kind of talk about in closing, and this is a section of the show I want to do every week, and you'll probably have some things to add to this. This is my shout out section. So this is just where I want to talk about some things currently being produced in Utah or in post production.
Okay.
And sometimes we might even talk about pre production.
Oh, I got a list. Hold on. I've got a list for you.
Okay, all right. So let me share the two. There are two people that specifically made that wanted to shout out today. So one of them it's a YouTube channel, and let me make sure I get it right. Working with Lemons.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're a big a YouTube channel. Anyway, they're doing a big music video this weekend. They're going to be up at This Is the Place. Sounds like it's going to be really cool. But also, coming up, they're starting a whole new series, and they're looking for comedic screenwriters. Anybody who's on the Utah Filmmakers and Actors page may have seen. They're starting some new series. So check them out, Working with Lemons. Can we pull up their YouTube channel real quick just to show that? Okay, all right.
They got like stuff like Let It Go.
Right.
A lot of the family was in that
All right,
show. Maggie.
We'll put up a link. Yeah, they do some fun things. And then the other movie that was released pretty recently, I'm actually not exactly sure how recently, is Trek the movie.
Oh yeah.
This is a Mormon themed movie, obviously, but made right here in Utah, and with all crew. I think all the crew and cast were all local.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Anyway, so that's kind of making the rounds right now in theaters, and so check that one out as well.
I'll get in trouble if I don't mention the Emma Smith 2 movie that's coming out here next month.
Oh, okay.
So it's being produced by the folks who pay Paycheck for my day job. So it's coming out to Megaplex Theaters. It'll be out here next month or so.
What's that one called? I can't. It's just
Emma
called
Smith, My Story. Oh no, the continuing story. Or
Continuing. So I've seen.
Brittany, I'm sorry, I forgot the name of the movie. It's Emma
Why
Smith
he didn't say
2.
it.
It's Emma Smith 2. It's about what happens to Emma after the martyrdom of Joseph Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's Brittany's much better at explaining it because she directed it. So
Okay.
And then a couple other films that have recently come out.
Real quick, if we
Yeah.
can also toss a link to the Trek the movie website,
Yeah.
you should be able to pull that up and just toss a link on.
There
for
you
that.
go. So these are a couple web series and short films that have all come down recently. So Day Zero, Battle for California, The Medicine Goes Down, The Thing in the Hallway, World War II Zombies, which I really enjoyed.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, Make Me Laugh, Virtual Refuge, Captives. I'm looking at you, Adam. Yeah, I did it, and a Star Wars fan film called Star Wars Dreska.
Yeah, and
Those have all recently come out, and actually they've all submitted to the Utah Film Festival in the Made in Utah category.
Nice. Okay, so there's a bunch. I don't know if you're like me at all. I am a complete junkie for low budget web series.
Yes.
I love them because I love seeing what people can do
Yes.
with very little money and a lot of passion.
Super creative, too. Creative
Which
people.
kind of brings me. I'm going to just put in a plug for my show again, Phoenix Incorporated or Phoenix Inc. The series, which it was low budget, but I think we're turning out a great product. But check out our not pre-production, but our pre-release stuff going on right now. You can go to phoenixinc.series.com, or you can look up the Phoenix Inc. fan page on Facebook. That'll be dropping. I'm hoping that it's going to be ready in time for the web series festival. Which when is that set in June?
I have no idea. Probably.
Probably in June.
Not how many popples.
But yeah, keep an eye out for that, and check out all these other great people who are working in Utah. And if you are working on something in Utah right now, please feel free to contact us on the Film 360 Facebook page and let us know about it, because we want to give everybody a shout out. Part of the purpose of this show is to promote local films, and it's at no cost to you. I mean, it's we're not getting paid by any. Well, he's getting paid by some of the shout outs, but that's beside the point. That's just his day job. But I just want to highlight local work. And it can be any level, whether you're the Hallmark Channel or whether you're, Aunt Sally making her first video.
Aunt Sally?
Right?
I love her stuff. Oh my gosh.
She makes good baking videos.
Oh my goodness,
don't know.
bacon? Did you just say bacon videos?
I should have. Anyway, so be sure to check out some of this great stuff that's happening in our state. And until next week, thanks so much for watching Film 360. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll talk to you soon.